Hey everyone, Aaron here from Push Square with Khayl Adam's PS5 review of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Let's see if this RPG has been worth the wait. With Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Czech developer Warhorse Studios demands a seat at the table of role-playing masters with a dangerously immersive WRPG that, almost disappointingly, is polished to mirror brightness like a dazzling suit of tourney plate. Armed with a bizarre mixture of mechanics seemingly inspired by Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Witcher 3, yet also armoured with the eccentricities of Warhorse's own deeply emergent, painstakingly historical world, the developer's relentlessly hardcore medieval knight simulator is one of the most immersive, all-consuming experiences that we've faced down in years. The direct sequel to 2018's Kingdom Come Deliverance is clear Warhorse has been gathering itself for this charge, and the sequel throws down a defiant RPG gauntlet that very few studios could ever hope to follow, let alone exceed. Continuing the relatively low-stakes tale of Henry of Skalitz, set in the Kingdom of Bohemia in 1403 during the Middle Ages, this is the Czech Republic in modern times, our unlikely hero is now squire to the ludicrous but undeniably lovable Hans Capon, the flamboyant young lord of Pirkstein. The two are swept up in the violent, endless, Machiavellian political machinations of the Holy Roman Empire, which is one of history's great ironies, is neither Holy Roman nor an empire. Daring to do the seemingly suicidal, Warhorse offers players a Skyrim-like experience, but completely mundane. The developer contrives a way, following a string of scene-setting cinematics, to make players feel truly alone, penniless and underpowered all over again. There are no difficulty settings here before you get a faithful hound beside you, a noble steed beneath you, and a stable roof over your head. Life is hard, eked out by the hour, and you must spend every waking moment moving forward. Warhorse has valiantly attempted to file away some of the original's rough edges and largely succeeds. There is just no getting around how much the game demands of the player, however, assaulting them with endless mechanics, ticking survival meters, and dozens upon dozens of pages of lovingly illustrated tutorials. We predict many players will bounce off the game entirely, cursing reviews just like this one. Uncompromising and singular in vision, Warhorse asks a lot, demanding your most valuable and limited resource: attention. Saving happens when you exit the game, during specific story moments, when sleeping in an owned or rented bed, or upon drinking delicious savor schnapps, giving the monstrous RPG the air of something like XCOM's Iron Man mode. You can load a previous save, but new ones will be made regardless, spurring you forward. None of the above is optional, and that's just for starters. We shudder to imagine what the post-launch hardcore mode will entail. Combat is a central tenet, as Henry is a bastard-born noble, now retainer to Capon, technically making him a knight in the day's structure. Realistically, even a fair fight at first is an incredibly overwhelming affair, and likely to result in serious injury or death. The intense nature of the first-person perspective makes any encounter difficult early on, which encourages unchivalrous behaviour. Still, once you get some decent gear and seek out a swordsman named Tomcat who will explain basic essential mechanics, combat is incredibly compelling and far more profound than it first appears. Directional blocking, along with counters, ripostes, grapples, master strikes, and honest-to-goodness combos must be unlocked from masters in the world across a meaningful variety of brutal weaponry. We lived under a hedge for days at first, stealing sleep and food where possible, a stinky, foreign knave claiming to be a knight and therefore to be treated with hostile suspicion at best. It was one of the most engrossing and immersive video game experiences we've had in recent memory. The reactive world means peasants, birchers, bandits and nobles alike just wander around, living lives completely independently of Henry. NPCs maintain a strict, relentlessly consistent social code of conduct, and you're expected to play by the rules, which in turn are made to be broken. You can interact with most people in surprising ways, similar in effect to Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. The absurdly granular, regional, and even social class-specific reputation system will hold you accountable and simultaneously allow the words of your deeds, good and bad, to spread in a fascinating fashion. There isn't space for it all, but shout out to the game's seemingly simplistic stealth system, which has no business being as involved or rewarding as it is. Likewise, considerable immersive sim energy pervades many main and side quests, which will frequently offer multiple methods of resolution provided you can find, make, or brute force them. Forget Eurojank, WRPGs of this size and quality are now almost exclusively made in Eastern Europe. We spent around 20 hours in the game's open world at this point, taking odd jobs, becoming familiar with endless mechanics, and immersing ourselves in the many varied, ludicrously involved but deeply gratifying crafting minigames before finally starting the game's surprisingly reactive central questline. In hindsight, you are encouraged to follow the story and will be richly rewarded for doing so we needn't have struggled as much as we did. Still, it took us just that long to wrap our heads around most of the game's basic mechanics. Past the 40+ hour mark, our jaw hit the floor when, after a particularly climactic sequence and some meaningful plot development, we found ourselves adrift in a second, somehow larger, inexplicably even more detailed open world map. We still weren't done with the first map, and the revelation came as a welcome and generous seeming surprise to us. This is an enormous video game that is unbelievably generous in terms of meaningful, well-made, worthwhile content. It dwarfs the relative size of the similarly structured Fallout 4, for example, and is several orders of magnitude deeper, mechanically speaking. And it all starts with Henry. Henry of Skalitz is, if fates be kind, destined to join the ranks of the all-time great open-world video game protagonists alongside Arthur Morgan and Geralt of Rivia. Heroically voiced by Ben McKay in English and Richard Wagner in Czech, with over 500 hours logged in the voiceover booth, the cinematic and even incidental performances are fantastic, of the highest quality and seemingly without end. You spend a lot of time in Henry's shoes and he has a shocking amount to say. Whether bathing with buxom maidens, storming a castle wall, or drunkenly attempting to steal the neighbouring village's beloved maypole on a dare, Henry is hilarious, tragic, reliable, and best of all, a believable everyman in a vibrant time of gross inequality and misery. As a reasonably mundane protagonist, he's simply incredible. Contrary to popular belief, day-to-day medieval life wasn't nearly as bleak as you might think, and the rowdy Bohemian people are an exceptionally resilient and fun-loving bunch. As with the Yakuza Like a Dragon series or even the Persona series, playing a game so culturally rich, so of a specific time and place in English, almost feels a shame. This is made more difficult by an excellent English performance, which truly puts in some standout localization work, doing a lot to differentiate between the various ethnic groups like Czechs, Cumans, Jews, Poles, and endless variations of German that uneasily coexist in the region. Henry is far and away the most modern, Western-sounding name in the game. Germans will insist on the more proper Heinrich. Henry will be called upon to deal with outrageous situations in the grand tradition of open-world adventure, and the game boasts many side quests of the first order. Nothing is outside of Henry's purview, and he's willing to have a go at anything or anyone. Using the historically accurate ignorance of the time, these matters are almost always taken extremely seriously, allowing for some truly ridiculous moments of levity in an otherwise profoundly political, serious game. Fortune favours the brave, the family motto of the noble Capone line, and the creed of the developer Warhorse Studios. In daring to deliver its singular vision for a game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 transports even the most grizzled genre veterans back to a time of truly immersive video game experiences. Challenging, uncompromising, and thoroughly engrossing, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is in a league almost entirely of its own. We're giving Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a 10 out of 10. Thank you everyone for checking out our review of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That is a big old mighty score we're giving out there, the first 10 out of 10 in a little bit, I think. So does that sway where you stand with this game? Are you now going to pick it up that you've seen this review, or were you always going to be there when the game launches on February 4th? Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're there, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation video content just like this. Anyway, until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been pushed square.